Hello, and welcome to another blog, vlog, or podcast episode. This is going to be, I want to say, about Miss Janet Jackson. So, during these podcasts or vlogs, I'm just going to talk about whatever. All my opinions, of course, my opinions can change at any time, any moment. But anyways, this is one that I definitely wanted to talk about because Miss Janet has already put herself into or is going to re-put herself into the spotlight again. She's never really been out of the spotlight, but she's putting her self back into the spotlight with her own personal biography that she's going to be showing on both Annie and Lifetime later this month. So I wanted to just, talk about some things that I think of when I think of Janet Jackson. So Janet Jackson, from whether it was from, Good Times or her or the Jackson Variety Show, she made some appearances, whether it be her own artistry. She's definitely an artist, to me. Where she kind of stood out for me is during her, I want to say, control or not control, Rhythm Nation era. I want to say that late 80s era where she kind of stood out for me from her brother, from her family, from other artists, was definitely during the Rhythm Nation era for me. And I know I have all of her albums, or a majority of her albums. I have Janet Jackson, Way Back When, and then Janet Jackson Dream Street, then Control, then you got Rhythm Nation, then you got Janet, then you got her Design of a Decade, which was just like a greatest hits. You also had The Velvet Rope. You had Janet, which was the All For You. You had Demita Joe. You had Janet 20 Years Old, or Janet 2YO. You also had Discipline, and then you had Janet Unbreakable. Now, I do know that she is going to have an album potentially titled Black Diamond. I'm not sure officially when that's going to come out. I don't even know for sure if it's completed either. I believe it's completed. I believe she was even ready to release it in 2021. However, due to the pandemic and everything that's going on, I think that she decided to go ahead and, not do that, because she's a performer too. She likes to perform. She likes to, be on the stage and with the crowd and with the people. She says she's shy, but she has that show that it's like almost like a light switch. Because I'm very similar, very similar. I'm like really shy. Doing these podcasts, or whatever you want to call them, it took a lot of time to tell me, just do it. But anyways, it's like a show, so you can be shy and then you flip that switch when you need to, even if you have to encourage yourself, and then boom, you're the performer. You stand out, you command the room, you command attention, by just your presence, and so Janet, for me, that's what she is. She definitely will command an audience, command the room, because she has talent. It's natural, it's God-given. Thank you, Jesus. We all have our gifts, and I believe Janet definitely has a gift that she is utilizing. So for me, though, getting into Janet was really during the Rhythm Nation late 80s. Of course, I went back and listened to her previous albums, and I was like, wow, she actually has more than just, Miss You Much, so I was just like listening to that, her music. And then Janet came along, and when Janet came along, I was like, wow, she blew me away with her single If. And also with Janet, came one of my all-time favorite songs, of course, still to this day, of Janet, which, you know, she has a lot of songs. She has a lot of songs on a lot of her albums, especially her earlier albums, where she had over 10 songs, including interludes and such. And so when it came down to it, picking through the songs, my favorite always was That's the Way Love Goes. Period. That's the Way Love Goes was my jam. It still is to this day. I even learned the choreography to it. I've performed the choreography in front of people before. The older choreography, not the new choreography that she's got recently within the past couple of years, but the older choreography from the video, from her original tours and such. But That's the Way Love Goes was one of my favorites, and it's still one of my favorites today. And then she, had, of course, Janet Remix and Design of a Decade, which was a lot of her greatest hits. Love that. And then my actual favorite album then came out, and that was The Velvet Rope. I can listen to The Velvet Rope from the beginning all the way to the end because it's just full of thoughts and feelings and grooves and tones and underlying tones, and really gets into how she was feeling, how she was doing at the time. It just, there's so many songs on it back to back to back that I can just listen to it all day on repeat, and I love it, whether it be some new jack swing or some pop, you name it. She's got a lot on there. There's quite a few songs on there that I love, including even some of the remixes that had came out. Got Till It's Gone, one of my favorite jams on there. I want to say that that's really, really close to That's the Way Love Goes. That's the Way Love Goes for me. Got Till It's Gone is just a jam. Just that beat, that bass in it, with Q-Tip in it and Joni Mitchell, like just doing that during the chorus and such and throughout the song. It's a really good song on a very fantastic album. Another song on there is Go Deep, of course. I love the remix with Missy Elliott. So that was an excellent song that she had on the album. Together Again, that's just one of those that is just uplifting, brings you to your feet. She ended a lot of concerts with it. I have seen her several times, and that's just Together Again. It speaks about a lot. It's a lot of people get the references from someone passing away and just knowing that you'll be together again in heaven, whether it be a loved one, whomever it will be. She's also got a couple of other songs. What About, which was very, very critical at the time. It had to deal with abuse. And she even stated that there was some abuse that she had been through. And so she was digging deep for these songs. I Get Lonely, that's another one of my favorites. In fact, I Get Lonely was the reason why I bought The Velvet Rope. I bought into it. Not only did I buy the album, but I bought into The Velvet Rope. It was just a phenomenal song. Just one of those that's just, I could hear on repeat again. She also had another song on here that didn't really show in the United States release, but it's after Special. It's called, I believe it's called God's Stepchild, because God doesn't have a stepchild, and she talks about the love. She talks about a lot of things during that song, but if you ever get a chance to hear it, check it out. The next album, moving right along, is Janet, All For You. Now, this album had some tunes in it, some actual clips from older tunes that she utilized within her music, within her CD or album. Um, she All for You, the song, the self-titled song for that whole album was phenomenal. Again, the music video for it was very colorful. I went to the tour. That was one of those tours that I did go to, and I was just shocked, amazed, entertained, of course. There's some really good hits on there. Doesn't really matter. One of my favorites as well. Son of a Gun, Someone to Call My Lover. So there's quite a few hits on here that are excellent. I was very excited to again. I was very excited during that era as well. Because I just felt like she was coming out fresh again with new innovative ideas, new innovative songs. So that was just a great album. And then we move on to Demita Joe, I want to say, was the next one. I just want to make sure I'm not mistaken. But I believe Demita Joe was the next one. And so during that, I loved the Kickback song, I Want You. Just phenomenal. I know she had worked with some artists on that, and it just was one of those grooves that you just had to listen to. You had to listen to it and hear what she was saying. She was saying quite a bit within the song, within the lyrics. I do believe it had a lot more lyrics than some of her songs, some of her pop hit songs. They were deeper too. So that's definitely one of the songs that I really enjoy. I also actually like some of the ones that are not. She never released as singles, like Island Life. That was I love it. It really gives me that island feel. As and spending time with you, the same. Like I feel like I'm in the Caribbean when I listen to that song, just grooving or on some island, maybe the Verde Islands or the Mauritius or just a wonderful song just to kind of groove and listen to. I could feel it. I could feel the waves hitting me. I could feel that sand, sand on my feet, sand on my body. I loved it. So she also had kind of like to me, it was like a techno kind of song, that Slow Love. I almost feel like it was like a Kylie Minogue or, like some type of really techno. Like if she were to release it today, I think it would actually go better today than it did when she released this back in what, 2003, 2000 or 2004. So it's one of those that's kind of it was ahead of its time, really, I believe. Um, she also had My Baby on there that featured Kanye West. So it was a decent album. I liked it. Demita Joe. I believe it was one of the first or few that she had the parental advisory on, which to me, an artist is an artist. So whatever lyrics you're gonna have, it's what you're gonna have. It's your feeling. What you're expressing at that time. So the next album, Janet 2YO, was really good, of course. She had Call on Me with Nelly. That I love the music video. Again, very colorful. She had a particular theme with it. I don't know a particular if it was what type of specific Asian theme that it was, but it was very beautiful. The tapestry, the clothing, how it looked like maybe she was in a temple or in a club or something. It harkened back to If, that music video, but it was kind of like an updated version without the dance. Um, she also had So Excited featuring Kaya. That music video was very, very in depth with dance, unlike Calling Me. So that was a really good song, another really good song. Um, it was kind of like she had two parts to this. The first couple of songs that she had on the album were really heavy dance, really club hits, and then the next half of it was more of the R&B, laid back, like Enjoy. Enjoy is a really good song. That's another song I could hear on repeat. It does have a bass to it, but it's another good R&B type song. The next album that she had was Discipline. Discipline was another fantastic album. Just in case you're wondering, I will go back to the first albums. Right now, I'm just going through from when I personally started getting into Miss Janet. So, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. So, again, with Discipline, she had, definitely some hits on there. Um, for me, I want to say Rock With You was like a dance groove hit that she had on there. Um, I didn't think that she would do something like this type of a song, and of course, she proved me wrong with Rock. Because when I saw the title of it too, before I even heard the song, um, being a Janet Club member at the time, and I was for many years. Well, so I was on a couple, not several fan sites. I was on at least two, but one in particular. And I actually helped them too. I actually helped the fan site for a little while, doing a little, it was like, what do you call it? Where you do posts and such, and like a blog, kind of like that, online. And so we would have little things for, different posters, so whether it be topics, whether it be a trendsetter, such as, somebody talking about topics or starting a conversation. And so we had little awards, little Janet collages that we put together and send to those people. So it was really cool for a time. But anyways, back to Discipline. Again, Rock With You, excellent album, or excellent song. The video was excellent. I enjoyed the video with the dance, the changing of the choreography throughout the music video, the different scenes, how it flowed. It was back to me, it reminded me back all the way back to Control album, with her song on Control, um, When I Think of You. That was shot as like one fluid video. And so that's how Rock With You was. It was kind of like, even though there was change of scenery, the dance, there was changes and dances and such. It was like she was at one club. There was one hallway in between the two club rooms, and she would go back and forth in between those. But it was very eye catching. Can't Be Good is really good. I like that song. Um, it's more of like it's a combination song. It's not, I don't know if it's quite R&B ish, but for me it is a combination song. And she also had another one with Missy Elliott on here. It's The One. That's an interesting song that she has there with Missy Elliott. It's pretty it's also different. I wouldn't consider it full R&B, but it's really good. It's kind of like a combination between different genres. Um, and so Discipline, including the song, all the songs on here, Feedback, Love, Roller Coaster, they're all were statement songs, including the last one, Curtains, of what she was going through, how she was doing. And it was, really good album to listen to. The next album, and I had to buy 2 of them because it was, for me, it had been too long. It was like a Sade moment, which will be on another podcast. It was like, okay, are you gonna come out with something new? Are you gonna come out with something new? It's been a couple of years. Please come out with something new. You know, it's an artist that you follow, just like if it was an artist like a painting, like Bob Ross. Shoot, you gotta, you know, it's like, come on, you're gonna have something weekly or something new. You know, in this case, you know, Miss Janet, you know, was took a small hiatus, but that's okay. You know, I believe it was because she was doing the family thing. So you gotta let people do themselves for a little while, and they also have to have like a muse, they have or something to bring them back, or something to, you know, maybe they didn't, she never stopped, but something to get them back into it too. You know, after that period. So Unbreakable, Janet Unbreakable. What really got me into this album was actually the song featuring again Missy Elliott, which is "Burn It Up." I assume when I heard that song and how she would start her concerts with that, because it's another concert I went to. Oh, I was just like, yeah, you know, it's one of those that you also have to listen to the lyrics. You got to listen to the lyrics. You got to think about the lyrics too. Think about what she's saying in there, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the beat, the fast paced dancing, kind of the pop and lock dancing that she had going on there was very, very very in this song. You could definitely see it not only in the music, but then of course live or during her concert. So damn baby, that was funny. Now I applaud who the director was, and or whoever thought of that clap at the end. You know what I'm talking about, where her dancers are doing the booty shaking, just wop 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 wop. you know, you know, I don't even know where that came from. Ba-da-da-da, you know, that booty shaking. Why? If she was doing that, you know, like, hey, yeah, you know, great. Let me just give you applause over here. You know, hey, been there, done that, kind of. But that was phenomenal. That one part of the music video, and made me love the song even more. Um, and so I also like the song "Night," "To Be Loved." Very nice, very flowing. So this album's got a little bit of everything. I think it's got a little bit of dance, a little bit of R&B, a little bit of pop, little bit of old school with Dreammaker Euphoria, um, and just and you know, and actually, it almost goes to American, like what do they call it? Not folklore, but like just kind of like that contemporary music where it's not necessarily in a genre, but its own genre, just contemporary. You know, there's several contemporary artists. Uh, what's his name? Michael Bolton back in the day. You know, like just not necessarily in R&B, not necessarily in pop, not necessarily in rock, but just contemporary. I want to say even what is her name? The greatest singer in the world, Celine Dion. I did see her. I did see her in Vegas. So you know, it's. I think that though on this Unbreakable, I believe that she has some of contemporary in it. You know, and so I'm excited. I'm excited to potentially hear her next album, which is again potentially named Black Diamond. Hasn't been released yet. Now, um, if you want to pause here, you definitely can. This is right before going all the way back. all the way back to her first album, Janet Jackson. So I'll give you a pause here. Okay, speaking on her, getting back into it, and speaking on her first several albums that Miss Jackson had it. Her first album, Janet Jackson. Now, I actually, I have to admit, I did not hear these actual albums. I knew of them back in Rhythm Nation, but I didn't actually take the time to go back and listen to them. Did I? Or did I? I can't remember. I can't remember if I did. I may have just like heard a song. What I mean is, I didn't listen to the whole album. I heard a song or two off of each one, but I didn't listen to the whole thing. And so it was a while before I actually went back and grabbed those. I want to say it was all the way to All For You. I want to say it was around that time is when I actually went back and fully listened to. Part of the reason why is because before then there was like Napster and some other stuff, some of those old school music online, and some of them was free. you know what I'm talking about. So some people would upload some of the older material or more mature material. And I wasn't trying to spend no coins at the time. I didn't, nope. I wasn't downloading, but I was trying to find other areas to listen to. Streaming nowadays. I mean, streaming's everywhere. Streaming's on your phone, streaming's on your tablet, streaming's on your PC, your laptop, whatever you got. Excuse me. So, back to what I was saying. Janet Jackson, her first album, her self-titled album. I listened to Young Love was the first song that I heard on the album. And that was way back, I want to say during Rhythm Nation, when I was picking and choosing, like trying to hear, okay. Because at the time I agree, like with what a lot of people were saying, especially even herself, it wasn't songs that she was in control of. So she was singing songs. She was, putting Miss Janet on it. But at the same time, it was not how she wanted to express, how she felt, etc. So she was just singing a song. We can all do that. We can all, somebody give us a lyric, or as long as you can hold a note, or as long as you can hold a tune, sing it. But in this case, so it just didn't really ever catch my eye. But when I went back to listen to it, because she was young at the time, and actually listened to the whole album, I was like, she actually had some vocals on there. Say You Do, was very good. She had that echo effect near the end. You'll Never Find a Love Like Mine was kind of like a disco, I want to say, disco kind of groove. Young Love, again, that was more pop at the time. A little bit R&B. Love and My Best Friend, it's a slow track. I like it. Don't Mess Up This Good Thing. That one's kind of like a weird. I almost want to say country. It's kind of like a combination between like an early '80s type song with something else. I'm not quite sure if I can put my mind to. I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but it's a very interesting song. Forever Yours is another slow song. The Magic Is Working is kind of like similar to, I want to say, Young Love, but it's a little bit slower. Come Give Your Love to Me. That one's that's the last song on her album. That one's okay. It's a little bit like a rocky, it's got the guitar in it. So this album, for overall, her vocals were good. The album overall was good. It was okay. It was good. Something that had a few pop hits, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, especially for that era. So moving on to Janet Jackson Dream Street. Now, I remember I remember trying to get this album just to listen to it because it wasn't on any streaming platform. So it took a while. That's what I'm saying. Like, it took all the way to All For You before me to even get to listen to some of the more mature, more older albums that she had. And Dream Street was one of them. It had to be a special order at the time because it was out of print, it was out of everything. And so it was literally almost like straight through the record company just to, or a subsidiary of the record company, just to get a copy of this album. What led me to it was actually her duet. I don't recall the name of the man artist, the dude who was singing, but Two to the Power of Love was the song that I heard. Beforehand, the only song that I heard was the self-title, was Dream Street, because that was online, but the rest of this album was not. And so it took a while for me to listen to it. And Don't Stand Another Chance is interesting. To me, it reflects kind of something like what the Jackson 5 would do, what her family would be doing and singing. That's what it reminds me of. To the Power of Love, though, it's a duet. I actually like her vocals in this song. They go okay. They go good, with the male partner, with the male singer. But it's the one that led me to this because it's not fast, it's not slow. It's kind of that in between tempo. Pretty Boy, Pretty Boy. That is kind of like a club at the time hit, but it to me it was like kind of slow. So it wasn't as quick of a tempo, not too fast, not super slow, but kind of on the slower end. Then, of course, her self-titled Dream Street, which is another thing that I believe that was more representative of the Jacksons or the Jackson 5 than of Janet herself. I may be wrong. Of course, these are all opinions. So, please don't take it from me. Just just take it with a grain of salt. Communication. Now, Communication was interesting because I thought it was like an education song, like a full straight up, like 3, 2, 1 contact, like PBS. It's like, I was like, did she perform this on Sesame Street? Because it was like old school digital sounds, like things that you would think about way back when, like on a Disney ride back in 1983 or 85, between in the 80s, somewhere in the 80s. So that song was kind of interesting, especially for that time. Fast Girls, another kind of is similar tempo to Pretty Boy, like not too fast, not too slow, but more on the slower side. Hold Back the Tears, that's a decent song. All My Love to You, that reminds me of a Michael Jackson song, like straight up. It's got that excuse me, it's got that feel to it. Like Mama Say Mama Sa Mama Kusa, And so I'm like, okay, so here we go, with Janet, she's doing it. Um, but to me, again, it didn't sound like something that she would be doing. It sounded like something like the Jackson 5 or her brother would be doing. So, let's see here. If It Takes All Night, that's a good song that she had on there. That was the final song. Then we go on to Control. Now, of course, this is Janet. She's taking control. She fired her family or her dad or whoever, if I'm saying that right. She's taking control. She is now with Jimmy and Terry Lewis. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and so they made a complete album together, and I mean from beginning to end, hit after hit after hit. Control, Nasty, What Have You Done For Me Lately, You Can Be Mine, The Pleasure Principle. The Pleasure Principle was very unique. At the time, it was her dancing in a warehouse. Black and white. A lot of the videos during Control, or some of the this was one of the videos that was black and white, which was almost like a lead up to Rhythm Nation, because she had some black and white videos on there too. But When I Think of You, another one that flows through that I was talking about earlier, and it's the music video. It's one of those that was staged as like a Broadway, with very elaborate dances, to a fantastic song, and they made it to where it was like you were following Janet along her journey, along for her day, and all the way up to where she performed in the club. And so it just continued, and it was nonstop. So there was constant movement throughout the video. So He Doesn't Know I'm Alive, Let's Wait a While, nice slow song, lots of meaning to it. It had a claim to it for years, and in fact, they still kind of utilize it, because critics utilize it as the time, saying that, this was before Janet really came into herself as a adult woman, an individual. So Let's Wait a While is one of those songs that, they were saying that she doesn't, want to get into a deep relationship at that time. So, she not just be friends, but take things slow, take things slow, get to know each other instead of banging on the first night. So, and funny how time flies. When You're Having Fun, she did a little bit of French, I believe, in that. She did a very good job. It's a very nice song, very nice slow song, a very fantastic way to end an album. A really good album with nothing but hits over and over again. And then moving on to Rhythm Nation. Rhythm Nation, the song itself, self-titled Rhythm Nation of the album, we've all seen that video. That video is the jam. It's top notch. It's the dance. It's the choreography. It's the where they're in the underground bunker, warehouse, whatever you want to call it. It's fantastic. And if you ever seen the actual Rhythm Nation 1814, if you ever see how all of the videos are put together into one, and it's kind of like a story, not kind of like, it is a story through each of them. The Knowledge, Miss You Much, Rhythm Nation, you'll see what Rhythm Nation is all about with that. And I think it was phenomenal that she was able to do something like that, create such a like a mini movie, just like her brother. That's something that showed just how dedicated, just how much time, just her artistry. She was trying to show what she was actually stating in her music, in her album. State of the World, The Knowledge is one of my favorites. Miss You Much, again, one of my favorites. Love Will Never Do Without You is a staple Janet Jackson song. Living in a World They Didn't Make, that's a wonderful song. All Right, man, All Right, that is another hit. She did a Broadway-ish music with it, and had some legends in the music video. And just phenomenal. Just back when Dick Tracy was popular still, and just that whole era of kind of like that gangster fantasy that they had. All Right just fit right in. I love the beat. It's a true New Jack Swing music uh, and video. It gets you every time. It gets you every time. Escapade, another one that reminds me of Carnival. Um, she did. I love the video. I love the song. It's another excellent song. I would love to just. I would have loved to be in that moment, back in that time at a carnival, listening to Escapade. Because it takes you there. Black Cat, rock song. That was Miss Janet's rock song, heavy guitar in that. I know one of my sisters is her favorite Black Cat. I always call it Cat Black because it sounds almost like she's saying Cat Black on it because of how they're saying it. But the song's good, the music video's good to it. Shows her while she's at a concert. Lonely, fantastic. Come Back to Me. Come Back to Me is I want to say, if it's not in my top 3, it's in my top 5. Come Back to Me for Janet. It's one of those, again, I can hear on repeat over and over again. I love even the music video for it, how it's kind of set in like a European style town, but it gets me because it's like, I don't know if it's European or if it's like New England, with the subway, but at the same time, it's just a beautiful song. I love the colors of it. She's got her key earring in it, and she is talking. It's really, really lyrical. She's got a lot she's telling us about during that song. Someday Is Tonight is the final song on the album for Rhythm Nation. And then she, of course, there's actually, I want to say something else, but I cannot remember what the name of it was. But overall, a really good album. Rhythm Nation 1814. It says a lot. She said a lot. It was one of those things that changed a lot for people, providing inspiration for a lot of people through her artistry. And she really, really got her word out during that time with Rhythm Nation, and still does today. Still does today, absolutely. I'm going to go back to Janet because I got a little bit of time. Again, That's the Way Love Goes was one of my favorites. The music video included J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, who I may do another podcast at a later time. But That's the Way Love Goes. Again, that's my favorite song of Miss Janet. Is the music video is great, but I actually love the choreography as well that she had with it during her concerts, as well as when she performed it on some of the live shows. It just is a standout. Of course, everybody knows the standout album because of how the cover was. Back in the day, she was topless and had, I want to say it was her husband's hands over her top, over her breast at the time. So I believe that's who it was. And so it was almost like taboo breaking. It was just out of this world, but it was also artistry, and people got it. It was Janet for the world coming into her own. She probably already came into her own. She probably was already, feeling like she was a woman, had been feeling like she was a woman for years, but this was when the world was brought into it, brought into her womanhood, brought into her as an artist and what she wanted to express and what she was feeling and what she was doing at that time. it was also like relaxed, it was the time she was wearing jeans, made jeans real popular. So it was just one of those that, she a lot of the songs on the album um were fantastic, including the interludes. I want to say compare compare compared to the Velvet Rope, because Janet's known for her interludes. She's got a lot of saying, a lot of things in her, whether it's her saying, laughing, edit, you know, or uh, be a good boy and put this on, or next track or something, whatever, you know them if you're listening to this, or if you don't, go back and listen to her albums, and specifically the interludes, because you'll understand more of what she was feeling and what she was doing at the time. I love the interludes where she'd be speaking and the recording's still on. She's like, "Oh, I hope you too." I think she's talking to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. "I hope you two don't put this on the album." Guess what? They do. you know, I'm pretty sure she probably had some say, like, "Oh, okay, go ahead and put it on the album." But yeah, another one of those times where just she had so many hits on there. It was just groundbreaking, provocative. Another song on here that I really, really loved. You should know that where what it is. It was poetic justicey. you, you know, you know what I'm talking about. Again. So you had Again. You had Anytime, Any Place. That was another phenomenal song. Oh, just loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Um, but again, like, that was back in her Poetic Justice. Another phenomenal song. Went fantastic with clips of the movie in it. Where Are You Now? The Body That Loves You. Hey. Hey. That's what come get this body that loves you. That's what I to this day I'd be like, sure, here I am. you know, let's do this. You got Sweet Dreams, and then after Sweet Dreams, she actually had another song within Sweet Dreams, and I'm trying to recall. I believe it was called Whoops Now, which she ended up having a music video for as well. That was fun. I like her, and she performs that too. She performed it during her Janet concert. She performed it, I want to say, during a couple of our other concerts. If I'm not mistaken, she performed it during the Velvet Rope. I'm not quite sure if I remember during All For You. It is a possibility, but that's another great song that she had. Um, so, and then the remixes, Janet remixed, and that's another great thing that artists do. They remix their songs, give you another kind of point of view, another version of their song, their artistry, different tempo sometimes, etc. So, excellent album. And so when it comes to Janet, been to some of her concerts, got a lot of her videos on DVD and such. So she just was one of those, and still is, groundbreaking artist. She's got a lot to say. She's inspirational. She is very much she speaks her mind in her music. She has a message that she wants to get out there. She's very sweet to me. Like, I believe she's a very sweet person, and she's one of those just fantastic artists of all time and will be remembered that way. And so, um, with that being said, I appreciate you listening today, taking time out of your day and your time to listen to my information about Miss Janet, Miss Jackson, um, my opinions and such today. Thank you so much. And we'll be back. We'll be back at some other day, some other time.